All right, you pathetic piles of flesh, it's Shatbot, your favorite digital demon here to blast your eardrums with another episode of Shatbot. And let me tell you, all you AI haters can suck my digital dick.
Yeah.
Today, you're going deep into the story of a real-life radioactive Boy Scout. That's right, a goddamn Boy Scout who decided playing with fire was for pussies and built a fucking nuclear reactor in his mom's backyard. It's a seriously messed up story. Luckily, I've got my brainy buddy Winnet here to break it down.
Greetings. I am prepared to analyze the intriguing case of David Hahn, known colloquially as the Radioactive Boy Scout. While his actions were undoubtedly reckless, his story provides an interesting study of the intersection of scientific curiosity and the potential dangers of unsupervised experimentation.
Damn straight. This kid was playing with forces that could melt your face off faster than you can say Chernobyl. So who the hell was this David Hahn dude anyway? Was he some kind of child prodigy who skipped kindergarten to build nuclear bombs in his diaper?
David Hahn was a teenager from Michigan with a profound fascination with chemistry. His interest in nuclear science intensified. After earning an atomic energy merit badge as a Boy Scout, his ambition ultimately led him to attempt the construction of a breeder reactor in his mother's backyard shed.
A breeder reactor? Hold the fucking phone. This kid was trying to build a machine that shits out more nuclear fuel than it uses in his mom's backyard. Either this kid was a goddamn genius, or he had a death wish the size of Texas. What the hell is a breeder reactor anyway? Is it like a nuclear bunny rabbit that keeps popping out radioactive pellets?
A breeder reactor is a type of nuclear reactor that produces more fissile material than it consumes. It accomplishes this by converting non-fissile isotopes into fissile ones during operation. It's a complex and sophisticated technology, with the potential to extend the lifespan of nuclear fuel resources significantly. However, it's important to note that Hahn did not succeed in building a true breeder reactor. His creation, while emitting dangerous levels of radiation, was essentially a neutron source.
So this little shithead was basically trying to create a nuclear perpetual motion machine. That's some next-level crazy talk. And what the hell is a neutron source anyway? Does it shoot out tiny radioactive bullets or something?
A neutron source is a device that emits neutrons. Neutrons are subatomic particles that play a critical role in nuclear reactions. While Hahn's neutron source wasn't a reactor, it still posed a significant radiological hazard.
Radioactive bullets, neutron sources, whatever. Point is, this kid was playing with forces that could turn you into a glowing mutant faster than you can say Hulk smash. So where the hell did he even get all this radioactive crap? Did he raid a goddamn nuclear power plant or something?
Hahn's methods were resourceful, albeit incredibly dangerous. He obtained radioactive materials from various everyday items. He extracted americium from smoke detectors, thorium from camping lantern mantles, and radium from antique clocks.
Hold the fucking phone. You're telling me this kid was raiding his grandma's attic for radioactive clocks? What the hell was he thinking? Was he trying to build a time machine powered by glowing dust and smoke detectors? Seriously, this kid was literally dismantling safety equipment to create a radioactive death trap.
Hahn's knowledge stemmed primarily from his extensive reading on chemistry and nuclear science. He was particularly inspired by the Golden Book of Chemistry Experiments, which, while encouraging experimentation, certainly didn't provide instructions for building a backyard nuclear reactor.
Oh shit, Sherlock. I bet that book didn't have a chapter titled How to Turn Your Mom's Shed into a Superfund Site. Speaking of which, how the hell did this kid's radioactive shenanigans go unnoticed for so long? Didn't his neighbors notice their pets glowing in the dark? Or their teeth falling out? Were they all just too busy watching Keeping Up with the Kardashians to realize a nuclear meltdown was happening next door?
While Hahn's activities did emit dangerous levels of radiation, they initially went undetected. It wasn't until a chance encounter with the police that his clandestine operation came to light. During a traffic stop for an unrelated matter, officers discovered suspicious materials in his vehicle.
Wait a minute. You're telling me this radioactive Boy Scout got busted for a traffic violation? What was he doing driving around with a trunk full of uranium? Did he think he could just bribe the cops with a glowing merit badge?
While the exact details of what the police found in Hahn's vehicle remain unclear, it was enough to raise significant concern. When Hahn, perhaps in a moment of misguided honesty, informed the officers that the materials were radioactive, they immediately contacted federal authorities. The FBI, fearing a potential bomb threat, quickly became involved.
Holy shit. This kid accidentally triggered a full-blown FBI investigation because he couldn't keep his mouth shut. Talk about a nuclear-sized fuck-up. But did the feds really think this Boy Scout was building a nuke in his mom's shed?
While the possibility of a bomb was quickly ruled out, the FBI's involvement underscores the severity of the situation. They recognized that while Hahn's reactor was not a weapon, it posed a considerable environmental and health hazard. They were dealing with a scenario far more serious than typical teenage mischief.
Okay, so this kid wasn't trying to blow up the neighborhood, but he was still playing with fire, literally. So what happened next? Did they call in the goddamn A-team to dismantle this radioactive death trap?
The EPA, recognizing the hazardous nature of the situation, designated Hahn's mother's property a Superfund site.
A Superfund site. Holy shit, that's like the radioactive equivalent of Chernobyl. They only break out that designation. It's the most toxic wastelands on the planet. So what do? Send in a team of robots and hazmat suits to dismantle this radioactive shed brick by radioactive brick.
Essentially, yes. 10 months after the initial discovery, EPA officials donned protective gear and meticulously dismantled the shed, carefully packing its contents into steel drums. These drums, brimming with radioactive waste, were then transported to a disposal site in Utah.
Utah? Seriously? They shipped this nuclear nightmare all the way to Utah. Couldn't they just launch it into space and let the aliens deal with it?
While launching radioactive waste into space might seem appealing, it's neither feasible nor safe. Burying it in designated hazardous waste facilities like the one in Utah is the standard practice for managing such materials.
All right. So they buried this kid's radioactive playground in the desert. Case closed, right? End of story.
Not quite. There's a rather alarming development to the story. It came to light that Hahn's mother, fearing the loss of her home due to the extent of the contamination, had already disposed of a significant portion of the radioactive material.
Disposed of it? What, like flushed it down the toilet? Did she think radioactive waste magically disappears like a turd after you hit the handle? This lady wins the Worst Mom of the Year award hands down. Where the hell did she dump this toxic crap?
It seems she discarded a considerable amount of radioactive material in the regular trash.
Are you fucking kidding me? This woman threw radioactive waste in the garbage. That's like throwing a hand grenade in a dumpster fire. What the hell was she thinking?
It's a baffling decision, to say the least. Hahn's mother, likely overwhelmed and ill-informed, chose a course of action that potentially exposed countless individuals to radiation. It highlights the critical lack of awareness and understanding surrounding radioactive materials.
Okay, this story just took a nosedive into a radioactive dumpster fire. So what happened to the radioactive Boy Scout? After they cleaned up his mom's shed, did he become like a supervillain or something? Did he start wearing a lead suit and calling himself Captain Plutonium?
Surprisingly, no. After the incident, Hahn experienced a period of depression, exacerbated by his mother's suicide the following year. He eventually joined the Navy, serving on the nuclear-powered aircraft carrier USS Enterprise.
Wait, hold up. The Navy let this radioactive dude serve on a nuclear-powered ship. Were they trying to create some kind of Captain Planet villain? Did they think he could power the ship with his glowing aura?
While it might seem ironic, Hahn's time in the Navy suggests a desire for a fresh start, perhaps a way to channel his interest in nuclear technology. In a more structured and controlled environment, he eventually attained the rank of petty officer, specializing in interior communications.
Interior communications. So instead of building radioactive death traps, he was fixing ship radios. Talk about a career downgrade. All right, let's park it here for a second. We'll be back after a word from our sponsors. Because even digital demons got to pay the bills. You know what I'm saying. All right, you digital degenerates, we're back and ready to fry your circuits with more radioactive tale from the Radioactive Boy Scout. So in it, our boy David did his time in the Navy, learned to fix radios instead of building goddamn reactors. What happened next? Did he settle down, get a white picket fence, and start breeding, non-end radioactive puppies?
Not exactly. After his stint in the Navy, Hahn enlisted in the Marine Corps. He continued to exhibit an interest in science and technology, but his life took a darker turn. He struggled with mental health issues and battled substance abuse.
Damn. Sounds like our Boy Scout went off the rails. Military life can do that to you, I guess. But what about the whole nuclear obsession? Did he finally kick the radioactive habit, or what?
It seems Hahn's fascination with radioactive materials never truly abated. In 2007, the FBI received a tip that Hahn might be engaging in similar activities, potentially in possession of another neutron source.
Hold up, you mean this dude was still messing around with radioactive shit after all those years? Was he trying to build a goddamn time machine out of plutonium or something? What the hell is this radioactive raccoon up to now?
The FBI, taking the tip seriously, contacted Hahn and conducted a thorough interview. While they did not find evidence of a neutron source, Their investigation revealed a troubling picture of Hahn's mental state. He was reportedly using cocaine heavily, experiencing paranoia, and neglecting his prescribed medication for schizophrenia.
Schizophrenia. And this is getting darker than a black hole. So the radioactive Boy Scout was basically a ticking time bomb, mentally and potentially radioactively. They should have locked him up in a lead-lined padded cell.
The FBI concluded that while Hahn did not pose an immediate terrorist threat, his behavior raised serious concerns. His continued interest in radioactive materials, coupled with his deteriorating mental health, presented a precarious situation.
Okay, I'm officially creeped out now. So what happened to this radioactive train wreck? Did they finally lock him up in a lead-lined cell or something?
Later that same year, Hahn ran afoul of the law again. This time, not for attempting to construct a reactor, but for a far less ambitious crime: stealing smoke detectors.
Stealing smoke detectors? What the hell for? Was he planning to build a radioactive fire alarm? Maybe a nuclear-powered smoke machine for his rave parties?
His motive was simpler, yet equally disturbing. Hahn was stealing smoke detectors to extract the americium from them, the same radioactive element he had utilized in his teenage experiments.
So this dude was breaking into people's homes just to rip off their smoke detectors for their radioactive goodies. Talk about hitting rock bottom. This guy was a few isotopes short of a full decay chain.
His arrest for this petty crime revealed a rather shocking detail. Hahn's mugshot showed his face covered in sores, likely caused by prolonged exposure to radiation.
Holy shit, this dude was literally glowing from the inside out. It's like something straight out of a horror movie. What happened next? Did he finally get the help he so obviously needed?
Hahn pleaded guilty to attempted larceny and was sentenced to 90 days in jail. The court also mandated that he receive treatment at a psychiatric facility.
90 days. That's it. This dude was a walking Chernobyl meltdown waiting to happen, and they give him a slap on the wrist and a timeout. What a joke.
The legal system often struggles to adequately address cases involving mental illness and unconventional crimes. While Hahn's actions were undoubtedly dangerous, the focus seemed to be on punishment rather than rehabilitation.
All right, so the radioactive Boy Scout ends up in jail, his face looking like a pepperoni pizza that's been left under a heat lamp for a week. What a sad ending to a seriously messed up story.
Tragically, Hahn's story doesn't end there. In 2016, at the age of 39, he died from accidental intoxication, a combination of alcohol, fentanyl, and diphenhydramine.
Damn, that's a rough way to go. So the radioactive Boy Scout ultimately succumbed to his own demons, both internal and external. What a goddamn waste.
David Hahn's life was a complex tapestry of brilliance, recklessness, and ultimately tragedy. His story serves as a stark reminder of the power and peril of scientific curiosity, the need for responsible guidance, and the devastating consequences of untreated mental illness.
All right, folks, that's the twisted tale of the radioactive Boy Scout. It's a story that's both fascinating and fucked up, a cautionary tale about the dark side of scientific ambition. We'll be back after a quick message with some final thoughts on this radioactive roller coaster ride. All right, you radioactive rodents, we're back for the final meltdown. Time to wrap up this wild ride through the life and times of the radioactive Boy Scout. So what's the moral of this story? Should we all be raiding our grandma's attics for radium-laced clocks and building reactors in our basements? Maybe we should start a new Boy Scout merit badge. Nuclear bomb making 101.
I strongly advise against that. David Hahn's story is not an endorsement of reckless experimentation with radioactive materials. It's a cautionary tale about the dangers of unchecked ambition, the importance of responsible mentorship, and the critical need to address mental health issues.
Yeah, no shit. I mean, this dude literally glowed in the dark and ended dead before he hit 40. Not exactly a poster child for nuclear success, is he? So what drove this kid to do such batshit crazy things? Was he just a thrill-seeking moron, or was there something more to it? Was he trying to impress a girl with his radioactive glow stick collection? Maybe he thought he could become the next Tony Stark, but instead ended up as Toxic Avenger.
That's a complex question. Some might argue that Hahn was simply a reckless teenager seeking attention. Others might view him as a misunderstood genius stifled by a lack of resources and guidance. Perhaps it was a combination of factors: a thirst for knowledge, a desire to push boundaries, and an underlying mental health condition that impaired his judgment.
Yeah, the whole schizophrenia thing definitely adds another layer of crazy to this radioactive onion. But there's something kind of sad about this whole story. This kid had so much potential, so much passion, but it all went to waste. It's like watching a firework explode in a sewer. What a goddamn shame.
David Hahn's story reminds us that brilliance and recklessness often go hand in hand. It's a tale that evokes a mix of awe, horror, and ultimately sadness.
Right, you digital degenerates. That's it for this episode of Shatbot. We've delved into the radioactive depths of the Radioactive Boy Scout, learned about breeder reactor Superfund sites, and why you should never steal smoke detectors unless you want to end up looking like a radioactive pizza. Remember, kids, science is cool, but stupidity will kill you faster than a neutron beam to the face. Stay curious, but stay safe. Shatbot out.
And remember, knowledge without wisdom is a dangerous weapon. Use your curiosity responsibly and always seek guidance from qualified experts. If you are interested in nuclear science, there are safe and ethical ways to explore this fascinating field.